What's going on, guys? Crypto Lark here. Today we're going to be looking at Lympo ICO. They are bringing sports data to the blockchain. We're going to be getting into all the details of that sale after a quick shout out to everyone who has been hitting that like button, and of course everybody who's been subscribing to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, buttons down below, go ahead and hit that up to stay up to date with all of the latest in the crypto space. Furthermore, this is of course not professional financial advice. This is just a dude talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet. This is an ICO. Please understand that there is a certain amount of inherent risk in investing in any ICO. Please do your own due diligence before investing your own money. Furthermore, the team at Lympo has reached out to me to do a sponsored interview of their project. However, I have of course reserved the right to do an open and honest interview. So let's get into it. Welcome to the show, everybody. Super excited to have with me today Ada Jonuse. She is the CEO and founder over at Lympo. Welcome.
Hello, I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Now, I was looking at your project and it's really interesting, but for anyone who hasn't heard of the ICO or looked into it yet, can you give us the elevator pitch? What are you doing?
Sure. So we're building an ecosystem that is powered by user-generated, user-controlled fitness and health data that comes from your health apps and trackings and tracking devices. And we want to incentivize healthy living by giving rewards in tokens. So the token is the utility token that works as an exchange of value in the ecosystem. And the ecosystem itself starts from professional fitness trainers and their clients. And then it's going to be expanding to add more and more partners so that you can purchase further healthy lifestyle goods and services in the ecosystem.
Very interesting. We're going to get into a lot more of the details of how all that works, but
Of course.
I guess the first question though really to ask is, I've got health apps on my phones and stuff. Like, what's the problem with the current ecosystem? Why can't I just use the app I already have? Why do we need something new? What's broken in the system?
Exactly. So I think, the bigger problem that we're looking at right here is the problem that we are a very technologically advanced but very unhealthy society. And it's like really sad to know that actually most of the deaths globally can be prevented from cardiovascular diseases. And one of the things that can help us here is, to change the style of living. And then, of course, we always think, there's always a new technology wave and everyone is so excited and saying it's going to change everything. And when we saw these, apps and wearables coming into the market, like there was so much hope that from producing all this data, all this, vital data about the customers, it's going to be able to solve so many problems like in our healthcare system. And in the end, like right now, it didn't deliver that promise really, because we're just using them for fun and then sharing maybe our results with friends on
Posting it on
Facebook,
Facebook,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of the only use. But what about your, professionals accessing this data and taking a look at the overall fitness state in which you're into? And that's a very important data. And actually, it cannot be really usefully used right now. The other thing is that, you have probably a number of apps, and then with one you measure whatever the kilometers you run.
Hmm.
Then there is an app for your sleep rhythm or a wristband, and something else measures your heart rate. And then maybe you measure your diet or meditation hours with yet a different app. And what do we have as users, what do we have from this? So there's not a place where I can go and check all of this information and get any advice based on that.
Hmm.
So this is one thing that I think is really broken. And then another thing is, of course, a question: whom does this data belong to, and what can we do with that? Actually, are we producing it for the companies to make profit from it, or can we actually be the owners of that data and utilize it further.
And that's a really interesting thing. And we've seen a lot of this with blockchain turning the tables on the way that business has operated. And in a way, blockchain is designed to overthrow the models of what we know as business. But this is a fantastic idea because so much data is being generated and the companies are cashing in on it. But as a regular user, you're totally left out. You don't actually get much benefit at all from it. Now, I wanted to ask though, what are the legal implications of, I guess, selling your data, of you having the data and being the intermediary to sell it? Is there any sort of legal framework that you need to work around here, or?
Yeah. So in these regimes, rightly so, the companies are restricted to share your personal data, with third parties, right? The only thing they can do, they anonymize it in big chunks and then use it for, kind of use it for advertising. But what we can solve here is when actually the user himself or herself has the data, then you can much easily give an access to someone else if personally agree. So I think that looking at these applications that kind of try to develop the ownership of our digital footprint online, I think that it actually enables a free data flow, a much freer and easier data flow than it exists right now. So actually the businesses and, all players in the ecosystem can benefit from that. It's not that it's, restricting someone.
Mm-hmm. I really like this idea of personal data as like an asset. And it's interesting because projects like yours actually let you have your personal data as an asset instead of it's still an asset, but somebody else has it in most situations. So that's really cool. Now, I want to think here the different players involved in your ecosystem. So let's say I'm a dude, I go running every day. What are the benefits? How is your ecosystem going to benefit me?
Exactly. So there are going to be a few ways that encourage you to do that, to submit this data from apps or wearables that you already use, to submit it to your data rep on Lympo and get token rewards. So one of the use cases is that you're actually using some professional advice like online or offline personal trainer, physical therapist, dietitian services sessions that you can book on our platform. And the other way would be that there is a partner who is organizing these challenges. Let's say we take a athletic shoe brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just do this 5K a week challenge for 6 weeks, and they have some limb tokens. They purchase some limb tokens from somewhere, and then they say, okay, we're gonna do kind of a big airdrop to everyone who finished that. And that's kind of a marketing activity and also incentivizing you to do these things.
That's pretty cool. I like the incentivized. Go out and do the exercise. Go out and meet the challenge, and then you can get these tokens, which you can then, theoretically spend with us later on, right?
Exactly. So yeah, well, the goal is obviously we will start with in platform purchases, but we already have some partners who want to accept this token as a payment system, and then
Wow.
we hope just to increase that, with time, and that token would allow you to access a number of healthy lifestyle goods and services in our ecosystem. So our goal is not to just build one platform which is as big as possible, but to integrate as many partners as possible who are having the same vision.
Very interesting. So, a lot of benefits for the end user, a lot of benefits, I guess, for gyms and, like you said, sports brands as well. They have this means to advertise to people, to give incentives to get their product out there. What about, I don't know, I'm a company and I want to make sure that my staff are healthy. Can I use that?
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good use case because right now, as a company, maybe you're giving a gym membership to everyone in your company, and then some people are going to the gym, some are not, and we tend to get lazy. And especially when we receive something for free, it's kind of difficult. And with purchasing Limp tokens and let's say working on some challenges for their employees, they kind of will be able to really know that these people actually did these activities. It's not that the companies are interested to see, how fast you run your 5K. It's not the idea, but the idea is that it gives you a more a more legit mechanism to actually incentivize those who are living a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Having a healthy workforce can't be underestimated by any means. Now, there's another thing, a factor that actually came in, which I thought was pretty interesting, and that's health insurance. How can we connect
Right.
Lympo to health insurance? Is there any connection there that can be made in a useful way?
Definitely, definitely. And we are very glad to announce that we received backing from a venture capital firm in Germany that invests in insurtech companies. And why is that so? What do insurances have to do here? So insurances are actually struggling to make use of the data their clients are producing because it's like not really connected. And also, obviously, they have a very big incentive to have healthy clients, right? And there are companies like a very popular insurance called Vitality that is actually successful because they're using this reward for healthy lifestyle mechanism. And actually, many insurances think of different way to give you, some wellness retreat bonuses
Mm-hmm.
or also paying you for going to the gym. And so we think that with Limpo, with the digital fitness wallet that we're creating, you can either, use it on our platform, or we can offer it as an, as an infrastructure for health insurances that are interested in using that.
Very interesting. Hopefully, of course, if you spend 3 hours in a bar and your Limpo, your app records that, you're not going to get penalized, of course.
Yeah, we're not gonna record that. You can still go to a bar and have a few
Just turn off your
beers.
phone, go in there. Yeah, very good. So essentially, you can monetize your data, help incentivize good behavior, which is great. Now, what about privacy here? So I'm selling my data to these companies. They know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Aren't I kind of giving away my privacy?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that many people are asking, and I think this is just kind of shows how difficult it is for us to understand how the internet and these apps function right now. So what we are always answering is that you're already giving away your data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like whatever app you're using, it's already out there. And now what we actually do is just give you an opportunity to withdraw that data and to actually then also be rewarded for
Mm-hmm.
what is already kind of solved without you knowing that or without you realizing that you're doing that.
Interesting. So essentially, it's happening. It's going to continue happening. You can either keep doing it for free or get paid for it.
Yes, and obviously my goal is, or my big dream is to create a fully decentralized app. I think we're not there yet, but I'm looking at so many technologies and I think there are so many interesting developments with, Blockstack and looking at IOTA and,
Mm-hmm.
what you can do with actually Internet of Things and connect it with wearables. And I think that that's going to be a natural step in the development of Limpo.
That's really interesting. That was going to be my next question. Is, have you been thinking about other sort of blockchain solutions outside of Ethereum? Obviously, it's starting off as an ERC20 token, but if you've been thinking of, sort of outside the box, I'm glad to hear that you have been thinking about that. Now, I did want to get into talking about the token. So, the Limpo
Right.
token, what exactly does it do?
Right. So the token itself is a payment mechanism. It's a mechanism where you can, so we use blockchain where you can actually store permissions to access your data and have
Mm-hmm.
this kind of history. timestamped history of who and when and how got the access to your data. And then with the token, what you can do is, as we said already before, maybe purchase some additional products or services. And also, a few years later, we plan a crowdfunding vehicle where you can actually use the token as investment in further innovative companies in health and sports technology companies that are on the Lympo ecosystem and that need some community support.
That's pretty cool. Now, your MVP ecosystem is already out there. How's that working? What's been the feedback on it?
Yeah, so the ecosystem, the working platform is without blockchain solutions yet.
Hmm.
It's a platform to find the best personal trainer based on your geolocation and on reviews and ratings. And it started in my home country, Lithuania, a year ago. And it's been very successful. We have more than 500 professionals on the platform, and we have just signed a big deal with the local gym brand. So we're having a B2B model and enabling our startup to be, a post-revenue company, pay its own bills. And that this all happened in 12 months. And then this autumn, we received this award of one of the emerging tech stars in Eastern Europe by Google, Financial Times, and a few partners that were doing this New Europe 100 list. So I have
It's
a
pretty
feeling it
impressive.
has been
Congratulations,
noticed
by the way.
internationally. Yeah, thank you. And it's been really good so far. And we're really excited that we already have this user base. And then there's our partner, GymPro, client management tool for fitness professionals that is used by 3,000 fitness trainers, also some in New Zealand.
Cool.
And we're very excited because we know that there is this user base that we already can start with. And so that we're not creating a product for, someone, but for these people out there who are our users already.
That's really good. And that was going to be kind of my next question. I think you've already answered a little bit. Was you've got this big base in Europe, but what's the global sort of perspective? So if I am using the app here, if I'm using the ecosystem, I have the tokens here, I can interact with other people here in New Zealand already, which is exciting. And of course, I imagine
Mm.
all around the world, and it will only continue as people hear about it, basically. So I'm really excited to hear that you do have this ecosystem which is already there, transferring it to blockchain, of course, to get payments quicker and really to set up this system of selling your data. It's very, very interesting. So I want you to tell me now about the Lympo Health Wallet. So is this just a basic ERC20 token wallet, or is it more than that?
It's a kind of your profile on the Lympo platform where you're gonna connect it to the apps and wearables that we're gonna start working with.
Hmm.
So we start working with a big data aggregator that already has the most popular apps and wearables on it. And
Mm.
then the others we're gonna add one by one. So obviously we can use anything that that allows us through their API to access the raw data and to make sense out of it. So I think from the user's perspective, you just open your profile, fill in some data, anything that you want, and then connect it with some apps and wearables, and then you're good to go. And there you see also your limb token balance, and you can spend them, you can send them somewhere from that wallet. Yeah, this is kind of the backbone of the ecosystem from which we start.
Very interesting. Of course, I think it's great too. You're gonna have all your data in one place as well, so it's a side bonus, I suppose. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the experience of basically you and the team. So, what is the experience that you have that's going to make you, makes you well suited to pull all of this off?
Yes, so I think, the most important thing talking about the team, I rather start with the team than with myself, is that it's a team, like, or at least the biggest part of the team has already worked together for more than a year, and they've
Hmm.
built this first product from which we started. So it's not like a team of people that we assembled from all over the world and then we say somehow it's going to work out. It's like, from my experience, I know it's quite difficult. It's, one of the most challenging things in the early startup phase. So this is great. And then the team has been enhanced by obviously some technical people who are experts in blockchain and healthcare, and they're in Germany and Australia. So this is really great because they're also, helping us to build what we actually want. And then finally, talking about myself. So I have this experience that I have so far with building the platform for fitness professionals. And in the blockchain space, I've been working with a few projects. Just started as a community manager and learning things. And my bigger public role has been, or still is, an advisor to Ethland, a peer-to-peer decentralized lending network. And that has been great. So I think that, through that, I met so many people and learned so much about how this world functions. And I hope that this network is going to be, beneficial for my project as well.
Very cool. Now, you got some interesting advisors listed. Uh, what are the advisors actually bringing to the table? How involved are they
Yeah.
in the project, and what experience are you getting from them to help the project?
Mm-hmm. So it's a big team of advisors, you're right. And most of so there's part of advisors who are helping us with technology development. So really great advisor Hainan, who's a cybersecurity expert, having worked in Zalando, SoundCloud. He's in Berlin. He is helping us out with the very important questions of security, because we know it's going to be crucial for our clients, right?
Hmm.
And then there is a whole range of advisors who are into investment attraction or asset management. I know it's quite a challenge for a young company to, end up with a lot of money. And then what do you do? How do you deal with that? So I think it's, um, I need this advice as well. And this is what they're bringing. One of the kind of main vehicles behind this project is Tony G. Antanas Guaga, who is a politician, blockchain expert, entrepreneur, and has been working with a few blockchain projects. And then we have Sonic, who represents a Chinese crypto investment fund, and so many other people who have just been very helpful in the whole process.
Very cool. And, I'm really glad that you said some of the things you said there, because that's something I don't think that gets discussed enough in the ICO space, is that in a short amount of time, your company's going to have a giant injection of money, and you're raising a reasonable amount. When I did the first calculation, it was around, I think, $17 million was the total. I think that's gone down a little bit. It's 14,500 Ethereum,
Yeah,
something like this.
exactly. So the price has been changing a
Yeah,
lot in the
as
last
ETH goes
weeks,
up
but
and
yeah.
down, that's it. But that's a lot of money for anyone to handle, and so I'm glad that you're already thinking, what's the best advice for actually managing this money when we get it to make it have the most effect for the company, for the product. So that's really cool. And that leads me into my next question. You've already got a working product, which is fantastic, a great advisory board, a team that knows what they're doing. How are you going to market this? How are you going to get people on board with using your platform?
Right. So I think, because you asked about the budget. So we all know that, especially to enter such markets like the US, the marketing budgets are exponential.
Hmm.
Really, it's companies spend so much on that. So I think this is going to be where a big part of money going to flow to. And talking about marketing activities, so we're glad that we start with, the personal trainers who are kind of mini agents, because all of them have, I don't know, 20, 30, and over the course of the year, maybe up to 50 new clients, right? So everyone is working like an agent there. And then the other thing that I'm very excited about is our go to work with big sports events like, marathons or cycling events where you can just say, okay, different people running, and why don't you, also get limb tokens for what you did? And me, myself, I haven't done a marathon yet, but a half marathon. So I'm very excited, and I feel that, maybe I'm gonna try out the next time I run the limb tokens for running the marathon.
Good idea. I like it. I like it. Now, so obviously starting in Europe, but you do want to expand into the US, and maybe you can talk a little bit, I suppose, about the roadmap of the project. Where are you moving forward with the project? What do we have in store for
Mm,
2018 and beyond?
yes. So for 2018, the second and third quarter are just to make sure that the fitness wallet works perfectly, and that there are enough people who tried it, and we know that we have a viable product. And then I think what you mentioned, the marketing activities. So the entry to US and Australia are, some of the milestones that I want to achieve. It's not gonna happen. Both are not gonna happen within 1 year. But I think we're gonna look at these two markets because they're also very well, at least part of the US and certain parts of Australia.
New
You have a
Zealand!
lot of
New
people who,
Zealand!
yeah, New Zealand, yeah, maybe you have a lot of people who are living a healthy lifestyle and are kind of health freaks even.
Absolutely.
So these are great markets for us to start with. And then I think we're going to just expand, country by country, seeing where we can add the most value and reach the most customers.
Very cool. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the sale here. So there is going to be 1 billion Limpo tokens in total. Why so many tokens?
Exactly.
That's a lot of tokens. Why so many?
Yeah, well, I think that, the number is like, okay, so you can, half it or whatever. I think what's important here is the percentages that, how many tokens you're actually releasing for
Hmm.
the token sale. So we wanted to be sure that like it's definitely more than 50%, that we're not, because then I think it gets to a very strange thing. I think that when companies um, reserve most of the tokens for themselves. So we're selling the 65%
Hmm.
of the token, the pre-sale and token sale. And then there is a part that stays with us. So the team advisor tokens, they're locked, and they're going to be vested in a few years. But I think for the beginning, because we also discussed marketing already, for the beginning, it's important that we have some tokens to kind of start attracting partners with, incentivizing them to join us while giving out the tokens. So that's the idea behind that.
Very cool. Now, the pre-sale, kicks off on the 23rd of January, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the
And
big
so,
day.
how much are you trying to raise during the pre-sale, and then do you have the main sale scheduled in after that already?
Exactly. So during the pre-sale, we are aiming to raise 5,000 ether,
Hmm.
and then the rest, like 9,000 and a little bit, for the token sale. And the token sale is gonna take place on February 17th. So we don't have a too long lockup period
Hmm.
for our contributors. And then we can, 100% focus on what we're building here and bringing the product to the market.
Very, very cool. Now, if anybody wants to get involved in the community or needs a little more information, how can they reach out to you?
Sure. So just obviously start with our website, lympo.io, lympo.io. And then we have a Telegram chat community of 3,000 people. So you can join us there. And in any case, send me an email, ada@lympo.io. I'm trying to answer all of them or just, yeah, be there on Telegram.
Very cool. That's very admirable, guys. Get in contact with the CEO via email if you want and you have some questions that you need answered. That is really, really cool. Ada, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us today. It's been a really interesting chat, and I think you have a really interesting product here.
Thank you for your questions, and I enjoyed being here. It's my first big interview. I'm so excited.
Awesome.